Hello, I'm Madeline from Sheen Slings, and this is the Neko Tiny Carrier. So called because this carrier is designed with the littlest babies in mind. So babies who are born early, low birth weight, born prematurely, or just smaller newborns. It's really designed with tiny babies in mind. And so this aim, it's made of really soft 100% cotton jersey, and you can see it's just super soft and lightweight, and in order to fit small babies, it is super adjustable. So you can see I can literally squish this panel all the way down and just pull out just enough, however much I need. So no matter how small my baby is, I can squish this down. And then likewise down here, if I open up the waistband, you can see there's Velcro in here, and I can squash the width down as well, or I can make it wider. And in that way, this carrier is really super adjustable, and I can get it to fit a really small baby. So unlike most other carriers on the market, this is weight tested all the way down to 2.5 kilos. And most you won't see recommending below 3.5 or 3.2 kilos, but this one they have actually insured it down to 2.5 because we can get it so small. We have a really quite deep waistband, but it's soft and it's squishy, but it's really supportive. It's nice and deep. I can really feel it on my hips. And then get my baby to put this into context. So my doll is about the size of an average newborn or a couple of week old baby, and you can see I can spread the fabric and adjust it out to wherever it needs to sit. So I can push this down lower if I need to, I can pull it up. Once they get to a certain size, you can start to use these buttons to secure. So generally Neko recommend that once baby is over 3.5 kilos, you can start to put these onto this button so that it won't move. But when they're smaller, you might want to go smaller than that, and so you just squash it down, and it generally doesn't move, it generally holds by friction. But that can be helpful when baby is a bit bigger, and maybe they might start pressing on this, and so it helps secure it. And we've got two buttons in two different heights. The straps are designed to cross behind your back like so, and pull down, and we can crisscross them, and you can see they really spread out, so you can get a really fitted shape if you want. To tighten up, they actually tighten by this strap behind, which does mean sometimes, so what I just did then was I grabbed it and it was too short, and I now can't get to it to make it longer, so I have to bring it back around to the front. But as long as I remember to let it out first, I can bring it round. And then it does up in one of two ways. So the first way is it does up into the waistband. So for that, I will click in there. Or the other way is it can do up directly under baby's bum. Now, Neko recommend the directly under baby's bottom for babies under 3.5 kilos. So we literally get these up, and then it comes under baby's bottom. You can either go over the legs or under the legs. Ideally under is going to feel a little bit more natural, whatever feels good. And then you can do it up. I do find the downside of that, as you can see, I struggled a little bit because it's unsighted, so I can't really see what I'm doing, and I have to feel for it. That can feel a little bit precarious, particularly when you have a brand new, very small, born premature baby. But it can be done. Some people like to do it up first and thread baby in. Again, it depends if you feel like you can do that maneuvering. And then once they are over 3.5, Neko recommend instead that we use these ones. Again, you can do it up first if you find this difficult to do up. Or as I am doing it, you can do it around baby. Here we go. And then to tighten, once I've got this done up, I'm going to reach round and find the straps behind me and pull them to tighten. So that one's going to be that side, and then and then I will do the other side, but I'll keep talking while I attempt to find it. I think it's got a little bit caught. Right, anyway, I will continue to talk. So, the advantages of this carrier is it's really there we go, I've got it done up. Really, really adjustable. It will fit a really, really, really small baby. And you can see by the, I actually could have made this slightly wider for this door, but you can see just how small it goes. The advantage of doing up here or here is that by not going into the panel, we are not putting any pressure on the spine. So particularly for new babies, often buckle carriers aren't recommended because when it comes here, it puts pressure on the spine and it also opens the legs up and puts more pressure on the legs. Versus here, they have no pressure there because the straps are instead running here. So that's the advantage of that. The disadvantage is as baby grows without the panel coming into here, it's less supportive for the grown-up, it's more pressure on them, and as you saw, it can be a little bit more difficult to do up. This is a wonderful option for newborn babies, but what puts a lot of people off is it is a little bit more faffy. It is very worth it if you have a brand new premature baby and you really want to use a buckle carrier rather than a stretchy wrap. But my experience of working with a lot of parents of babies that are born early is often they just find actually dyeing a stretchy wrap and sliding baby in a little bit easier than faffing with these different positions. Or they just choose to use a stretchy wrap or a ring sling or something that's a little bit easier until baby grows into one of the buckle carriers that will last longer anyway. And so often parents don't really find that they need this. However, if you do really want a buckle carrier, it is unbelievably soft, and these are all things that you do get used to and will get used to and get faster and find easier to do with practice. So I wouldn't necessarily let you put you off. And then you can see I've also got this hood, which I think is really nice, doubles up as a neck support pillow. So I'm just tying it here and have made a little pillow. So it is really supportive. It is really lovely for a small newborn. It then comes down to whether it's worth it for you to purchase versus purchase it for how long it lasts. So versus something like a stretchy wrap that will work really well with a brand new newborn as well and a premature baby, which generally costs about 45 to 50 pounds. This costs 110 pounds. In terms of how long it's going to last, you can use it right from day one, even with a very small baby. But because we don't have that positioning there, and because the material is stretchy, and because of the physical size of the carrier, you're unlikely to get much beyond 6 months. This is now quite similar to a stretchy wrap, but whereas a stretchy wrap is probably in the region of 50 quid, this is more than twice as much. Consequently, often when I'm showing this to parents opt to try and, if they can, get their baby into something that will last a little bit longer, like the ISME carrier. So one of my top recommendations would be the ISME carrier. Again, it goes down really small, but it continues to grow and offers a lot more options. It doesn't go down quite as small as this, so this can be incredibly useful if everything else isn't fitting and you really don't like the feel of a stretchy wrap or a ring sling or another option. But it can also sometimes feel like a lot of money to spend for something that isn't going to last that long and doesn't have that much growing options. Consequently, I do hire this out, so when parents are, say, they've got something for later that baby will grow into but they're not fitting right now, sometimes parents will rent this for a month, 3 months, just to fill the gap until baby has grown and no longer needs such a tiny carrier. Anyway, if you have any questions about the Neko Tiny or anything else this is similar to, or anything really, please put them in the comments below. As ever, if this has been helpful, please do like and subscribe.